All right. Hells walked away. Good morning. Discord having some issues. It looks like not just Discord. It appears to be Cloudflare related. So there's a lot of folks that can't even get into Discord. So I figured we'd kick the stream off a little bit early this morning and just let people know that it has nothing to do with us. It is Cloudflare or Discord and Cloudflare. I think somebody said Reddit was also having some issues. So we will kind of keep the stream going as long as we need to this morning. If there are folks that are unable to log into Discord, hopefully we can keep you apprised of what's going on if we keep this stream going a little bit longer. Hopefully they'll have it fixed, resolved before the market opens. But if not, we will keep this thing going. Is anybody keeping track of the status? Rick Top, good morning. What else is down? Anybody know? Down detector says. Cloudflare, Discord, like some Twitter reports, Instagram. Potentially Facebook. Interesting Discord status page. The only thing it mentions is some API errors that say that they have. So it looks like they marked it as resolved and then reopened it. Patrick, thanks for posting that. Cloudflare posting that they were doing some scheduled maintenance yesterday. Traffic might be rerouted in this specific location. Fun when scheduled maintenance, if that has anything to do with it, causes downtime. When unscheduled maintenance, or when scheduled maintenance turns into unscheduled downtime. Good stuff. Normally this process of going through the chart and figuring out what we're looking at I do before the stream starts, but out of here 7:30. What's up, Sonny?
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
It's gonna be interesting.
Good.
I don't have any Discord access.
Yeah. That's why I kicked this stream off a few minutes early because there's a lot of people that can't get in.
It's weird. Like if one PC it works fine, the other one it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having the same thing, son. As far as one of the PCs working and the other just being like, nope, you're getting cloud flared.
Yeah. I'll blame Aggie. He was playing with Cloudflare the other day.
It probably was Aggie.
Y'all give him way too much credit. I can see Delta furiously trying to figure out why I know he has a passion for raspberry jelly.
I don't think I want any details on this story.
Me, for a second, I thought about it, commenting. I was like, nope.
Not jam, but
Nope.
jelly.
Yeah. No.
He doesn't want them seeds getting in the way of a good time.
Petroleum or
Maybe. You know what?
Maybe.
I actually did. Obviously I was thinking about the condiment. I was thinking about the food.
Right.
I did not piece the other together. This is weird.
I mean, I don't know if they flavor that or not. I have no idea, but consider all the options. It's Delta. All right. Let's see.
I'd say nose whistle, but he's too busy making me look like a fool in Discord. So
He's pretty good at that.
He has way too much time doing that.
Seriously.
Dude, some of those pictures yesterday, I was just like, please.
It's like I know he bought a new subscription to Adobe and using generative AI to do all that. I think it's time bender.
All right. Well, I guess I'll play the video just because it wouldn't be wouldn't be the morning show without the video.
Sounds good.
So here we go.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. We are live. Today is September 29th, 2023, the last trading day of the month, the last trading day of the week.
And that's it.
I think that's it.
I think that covers it.
I think, yeah. It's like, is there anything else? It's like, no, I think that about does it.
No, that's pretty much it.
All right, let's play data game to start off with. Interestingly enough, we have things pointing in the right direction. Europe, or the EU reported their CPI numbers. They came in not only below expectation, which is good, they came in well below previous, which is even that much better. I'm sure there's some line items in there that somebody will try to pick apart and say, still not good enough. But the base data would say that, hey, that ain't too shabby. So that's Europe. Now we can get into us. Guess what? Pretty much the same kind of trend. Core PCE index came in as expected, but well below previous. And we had a slight tick down on core PCE month over month, August. That was a slight tick down, which once again is good. PCE price index again down ticking. All in all, Bender, you have to look at this data and say, you know what? Anything that may be priced in should be priced in, especially after this, put it in quotation marks, correction. But here we are. Here we sit going into a Friday that is sure to be weird. We still have our our evil uncles, and I'll just refer to them, DC in general, sitting there with the debt ceiling that they're grappling with. We'll see how that ultimately ends up playing out. A lot of noise, but the market for the moment appears to be ignoring the noise. So let's see how that shakes out by the end of the day. We do get additional data 30 minutes after open. We get inflation expectations out of the Michigan. And I believe we have a couple of Fed speakers. We have Williams at 12:45. What else do we got? I think that's about it. So really, I don't know, man. I think that between the charts that were thrown up, I guess it was late in the day, midday, Wednesday, as far as where we were in relation to support, to where we've kind of tried to build a base, is becoming more and more apparent, to the fact that we appear to be in more of appear being the key word, appear, because that's math and that's what these candles are doing, more of a buy the dip around this area than we are sell the rip. It would appear that is the story more than not. We've also chatted a little bit about over the past few days as far as flow and whether or not we're seeing bottoming flow. We're seeing that flow to make you, it's like, while we are not seeing it across the board, there are signs of life enough to where you're like, okay, so there's some tickers that have an opportunity to do some things. So I think, and when you get in these types of, like bloody environments, which, you know what, Bender, let me ask you this. This sell down, this was very controlled, very methodical, very organized. I don't think we had one panic handled. Did you see one?
I mean, I think there was a little bit I don't know about panic, but, the controlled descent, in order to kind of wipe the slate, hit some stops, take some liquidity. If we are not in panic mode and we are really just setting up for what is typically a decent time of year, and following kind of the game plan, the pattern, right, which is pull down into the end of August, sometimes into September, early October, and then we get more often than not strength at the end of the year. If all we're doing is kind of following the same program, then you wouldn't really expect death and destruction type panic selling. Right? It's more make it look ugly, bring it down, hit stops, bring it down, hit some stops. Okay, we got the stops. Things are, now we can move.
And that's not to say that we haven't had exacerbated, just gut wrenching sells. But
Yeah,
even
it's
those were
ugly.
very controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Which means I don't know what that means. I do know we have some green candles in through here. I know that the only thing, at least from a headline standpoint, that's immediate and front facing is going to be coming out of DC that can wreck this ship. Then it's kind of twofold. It's like if for whatever reason they step out today during market hours and say we've reached a deal, we're gonna pop, 1 to 2% from wherever we're sitting. We're gonna rally hard. If for whatever reason they say no deal, expect a shutdown, we're going to drop 1%.
Sure.
So I think that on a day like today, it's like past 2 days for me have been incredible. On a day like today, man, I might have a stop set before before I actually put in, the buy order.
And I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that honestly, the last 2 days have been really good. Yesterday was freaking one of the points wise, one of the best days I've had. I mean, I think pre-market, before we even opened, I said it'd be ideal. In fact, on the morning show, I said I think it'd be ideal if we made one little leg lower, first thing to open, show some weakness, and we, look to buy that. And we did, right? We pretty much nailed that. Now, given that it is the last trading day of the month and we're going into October and there's some unknowns out there, and the success of the last couple of days, it's been a good week. I think that I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I'm not overly eager to trade this because the setups that I was looking for and the things that I was looking at, like we got them, they worked. Now that we've taken out some of these levels, it's like, okay, I kind of want to see, I need some more information. I kind of want to see what the plan looks like moving forward. And I think, flow might be a little bit wonky today. So we'll see. We'll see if they give us a good setup.
But what's interesting, though, when you get in these environments, when it comes to flow, it's been so bearish over the last week or so that it's going to be very obvious if they're coming in and smacking bull.
Yeah.
If they're slapping it, if they're counting them out 100, 200, then it's like it's going to be very glaring and very obvious. And I think in a lot of ways, it's like I think we kind of talked about it yesterday a little bit. We're in a position now to where I don't think that there's any question that there are probably an equal number of bears trapped as there is maybe upside inventory, people that are freaked out that just want to get out. I think we have some boys trapped down below, like trapped hard.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting little place on the chart and moment in time. But yeah, why don't you chart us up and show us what you're thinking?
Okay. I was just posting the link because there's a few folks in Discord saying, "What's the link? What's the link?"
The alert didn't go out on Twitter.
I didn't send it because I was already streaming, and so
right.
Yeah. So all right, let me throw this chart up here. Show you what I'm looking at. All right. So let's look at first. Let's look at NQ. We were looking for this fourth deviation here, which these were our targets yesterday, T1, T2. We got that second target. That didn't come through until I think it was 3:00 this morning, something like that. So they took that target, and And the only reason I'm not going to get into the individual levels on the NQ because Stonkington can do that, but I just want to show kind of comparison to where we are on the ES. So here's your high from the 22nd, hanging out just above, but it did take this second target. So now if we flip and compare that to ES, right? Your 922 high is up here. It hasn't taken the equivalent of that second target that NQ has, right? So I'm looking at NQ kind of leading the way here, and I want to see if we can get confirmation from the ES, because either NQ is going to, it's ahead of itself and it's going to kind of pull back into here and let the ES catch up, or ES is going to come play catch up. Somehow they, should kind of come back together. Either the ES is going to confirm or it's not, and NQ will follow. And I'll pull up the Dow chart as well, but it's not likely that we're going to have the NQ just keep pushing higher if, the rest of the market doesn't catch up to it. So that said, you can see the levels here that I have marked out. We just took out this high, which the NQ took yesterday. So that next one up, 43.83 half. We have that fourth deviation right here, 43.71. That's kind of reaching up towards. If it wants to continue, you have this 60-minute fair value gap in here, but ultimately, I think that's more likely to be a speed bump than anything else. If, we can kind of get some momentum going here on the shorter time frames. Mm-hmm. This 43.8375 would be, that level if it pops above, to then look for that reaction to go, okay, if that's what it was after and it got it, now maybe it pulls back a little bit. This 60-minute fair value gap right here that I have highlighted, I think is important. Oops. You can see this was left behind on that candle down. And if we extend that over, we can see that we left fair value gaps. This was resistance, pulled back a little bit, got through it, left fair value gaps behind. And now this area has become support. I think that is important. If we do start pulling back into this zone, I would like to see this area hold, say down to that 43.40 or so. I think right in there, 43.43 was the London session low. So I'd like to see this area in here hold for us to continue northward. Man, outside of that, it's like you can see all this stuff that we left behind on the way down. As you said, we've had quite a few days of, I think we had 8 days down, 10 days or so down, with 1 or 2 green days in there that were not really big green days, but flat. So there's a lot of stuff that we've left behind. I think we need to get through today and then look to next week to see if this was indeed sort of the low for the year. I think we'll find out soon. We got that reversal. If we look at, we're talking about looking for things like on the 4-hour. That put in a bottom there. Mm-hmm. We had a shift in market structure. It has now become, that inverse head and shoulders held right where it needed to down here, that right shoulder. Came up, tested the neckline, and push.
Yeah.
So far, it's all there.
Even the downtrend, if you draw the from
Hmm.
peak to trough, we have penetrated the upside of that downtrend, that immediate
Yeah.
downtrend.
Yeah. So it's all there. Like you said, there's a number of things that are hanging out there that, could stop this thing in its tracks. That's a risk that's almost always out there,
Hmm.
right? It could always be something. You never know when it's coming.
No, we still have
So
aliens and shit, dude. We got
we still
aliens.
got all kinds of shit out there that they can throw at
We
us.
got folks in other countries having sex with bats. It's like we have this
That
is
was Mickey. That was just Mickey Mouse.
well, but see, I think what happened is they indoctrinated him into communism, and he felt like he had no other choice based on no longer having beautiful, American dreams anymore. That he had no other choice but to fuck a bat. It's just fair being fair. I think that's it's like what else is a mouse to do?
Well, if you saw the episode, he actually thought it was like he referred to it as like a sexy flying mouse or something.
Yeah,
So it's like mistaken identity, I guess.
yeah.
Anyway, all right. So that's about all I got.
That's it. So we get Sunny.
We got Sunny.
Sunny, what you got, man?
Ah, haha. So much news. Actually, today there is some news. A lot of news coming out of China. But we'll first start with Russia. So they're planning to do near zero diesel exports next month after the ban they announced a couple of days ago. So over the weekend, we get data out of China for the PMI. That definitely will have some impact come up Monday, even though they're on a holiday. So this will be interesting to watch. China has also proposed the relaxations of cross-border data transfer rules. So we got some jump in Baba, JD, cloud computing names. Apple's also meeting with the Chinese officials to discuss new rules for the iPhone App Store in China. So if you remember, Europe did that where Apple can't keep grabbing all the fee from the developers and things like that. They have to relax some of the rules around it. US did that with Epic Games, that whole lawsuit that is still going back and forth, and now China's jumping onto that train. Boeing CEO is very optimistic about travel demand recovery, and their order books are very robust. But guess what? They said they have supply chain issues, uh, which is interesting because I think the only supply chain issue they ever have is when some part, critical for
Right.
flying doesn't fit properly and planes fall out of the
Or
sky.
the ones that they manufacture don't work, and so they have a recall or whatever else it is, and then have to
Yeah,
redo their entire design. That's their supply chain issue, is not having their shit put together.
exactly.
Murder
So
plane.
SPR, murder plane,
Gotta love the
it's
murder
there for a
plane.
reason. Yep. But they've been coming to dark pools on that pretty regularly. I haven't
Dude,
seen
where is
that.
this thing going, man? It's like this
I
has
don't
snapped
know.
every level of support that it
Yep.
has. It's
It's
like,
hard to
and it
tell.
closed at that 190 level yesterday. It's like, do you buy leaps and close your eyes on murder plane?
It's hard to tell because you think like, okay, they floated the news that hey, China's gonna do the 737 approval. That should give a bump. There's some news came out. They're sending the test planes. It got a little spike, and that was it. Then it died off. Um, it's very interesting. I think they're holding a lot of this on the China approval of the 737
Hmm.
um, for a run up. Uh, but we have seen news, where Airbus is just taking contract after contract away from Boeing, um, and French are very happy about it. That's the revenge for when U.S. stole the submarine contract from the French, the Australian submarine contract.
Australia.
So
Yeah.
AbbVie had
Stole
put
is an awfully strong word.
yeah, AbbVie had their they were doing the blood cancer therapy, so their phase three trial failed on that. Intel is to get the advanced ASML chip making tool later this year. I had talked about this yesterday when TSM said they had placed a larger order for the advanced tools from ASML. So definitely, and we've seen some flow coming into on that. Chase Bank, the JPM. So they in the UK they've banned customers from purchasing cryptocurrency due to concerns over fraud. And Coin CEO is all telling the government they need to intervene. This is bullshit. Blah blah blah. KSS Coles is going to join the S&P Small Cap 600 from the Mid Cap 400. So it got a little 1% move. We know Nike had good ER, and now everybody's in the Nike bandwagon, upgrading price targets. I think the key statement that came out from the year was like, they reduced the inventory so they don't have dead money just sitting there trying to offload. I think we should see some of that coming out of other retail ERs that's going to happen, that how their inventories are reduced. And that's always a good sign. So there's more cash on hand. Upgrades. Bumble, BMBL has been getting a lot of dark pools last couple of weeks. Bud, Eat, Edit, QSR. So there's a theme here, mostly restaurant names. Got some upgrades. Uh, Downgrades, nothing significant that I see. MTB, I've never traded it. Burke B, Edward Jones downgrades to hold from buy. And yeah, I don't see anything significant. Events wise, nothing. All the events pretty much have happened. No other companies going out talking about anything. Dark pool, there was nothing that came into the sectors after hours. We did have a nice dark pool into AXP, about 17% at 150.23. DFS, 5% at 86.33. Chinese name, Baba, Beek, Futu, JD, all got dark pools. I did post all of this in my room, so if you need that list, you can take it out. Um, on the staples, consumer staples, Monster, MNST, this has been getting dark pools for the past 3-4 days now. Um, and it is a nice mover. So yesterday they got about 12.3% at 53.16. And the other big one was TJX, 27%. And I think that's it.
Very nice. Thanks, Sonny. Anything anything that you're looking forward to trading today? Anything that
I'm
you're
gonna keep it very, very light. I've had, like Bender was saying, yesterday was good. I've had good week. So today, with all this whole shutdown news and all that, I think there's gonna be some BS headlines coming out. We could get some spikes up and down. So, like you said, be very careful what you're doing. As far as for me, I'll be just watching SPX, but I'm gonna be very, very light.
right
I
on?
don't want to give anything back.
Yeah, I might just trade Rusty today.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Do we have Stonkington today?
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness. A Friday could not be complete without the wonderful and magnificent Stonkington. Stonkington, please, sir, tell us what you have for us today.
Oh man, what an intro. I'm ready. We got some good stuff. Man, for a second there, I thought that the government's IT started working. For anyone that doesn't know, I got hacked. Our whole group got hacked. And when I pulled up Discord and it says my IP was flagged, I was like, did the IT guys finally figure something out? But no, it was everyone. And we're back. So that was a close one. Thought the government's IT worked.
We were all on pins and needles, holding our breath on your ability to burn money. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, G Money. Whew, that was a close one. All right. We got the smashings of the burgers. So for anyone that's like, why do we always have to talk about the damn smash burgers? We had one yesterday, and Mr. Larry Williams would have got long at the break of this high, and now he'd be up, 4 points if he took the SPY. So the smash burgers are working. Just in case, technically on the chart, we would have, based on yesterday closing above the prior day's high, we would have one set up to the downside. So just in case we break yesterday's low, we will get an alert that pops here in the room. Similarly, on the Qs, Mr. Williams would have got in long yesterday on the break of the prior high. Again, he'd be up 4.5 points right now on the Qs. So that's the reason why we keep looking at the smash burgers and we get those alerts popping in the room. In the Roadhouse, keep an eye on that because it's a well back-tested strategy that has been paying. So let's jump into the NASDAQ, kind of a busy chart here, but we'll go through it. We left volume imbalances on the daily that are marked up by these pink boxes here. We left the 4-hour gap as well. We have our weekly gap, which is going to be, or we started this week up to the low of this candle, this orange box, which I have split into quarters with fibs. That's going to be these fibs here. So these could be some sensitive areas if we push to the upside, looking at 15.056 first. And then we've got the midpoint of the weekly gap would be up there, 15.15625. If we start to reverse and pull back, we've got the new week opening gap and this volume imbalance. And then we've been talking about the midpoint of this candle here that we were looking to see if it would work as an order block. You can see the first time we popped it, and then the daily closed back below, and then we bounced off of it. And then this was the one vendor was looking at pre-market with the inverse head and shoulders. So that's kind of what we got. This is, my inner bull looking for us to put in this massive flag. Not to say that we go straight up from here, but if we do come back, I'll be looking to see if we react to this trend line and maybe some of this other volume imbalance stuff going on over there. So that's what we got on the NASDAQ. Jump over to the Rusty. Let's see, we can start 4-hour. This is a setup we looked at pre-market yesterday, this descending megaphone that played out and paid nicely yesterday. Similarly, we've got this weekly gap above that I have split into quarters, so we can see, looking for reactions to this 1817 level there. That's the 0.25. And also similarly, we left volume imbalances on the daily here on the Rusty. Got this body to that body, that one to that one. So we'll see what we get. And then this is the weekly gap that we're looking at there. So some levels I'll be watching there over on the Rusty. Today I had Apple. Over to the 4-hour. All right. So Apple, what do we have? Earlier this week, at the beginning of the week, we took a look at this 4-hour left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Then we looked at this left shoulder, head, right shoulder. That, to me, those have all played out. And now I'm looking at this kind of falling wedge type setup. And
so I'm in weekly Apple calls, the 172.50s. Tell me what I can expect.
Let's do it. Let's see. So here we've popped out of this range pre-market that I was looking for to be my triggers. So what I would do is just flip this to puts. And this one would just be nothing. It would be just a level if we get past the puts line. And so what I'd be looking for is potentially this big falling wedge now that we've done all the head and shoulders-ing. So we had the weekly inside bar that happened to line up with the massive dark pool, which is going to be this one up here, 173.57. There's a lot of money sitting right there. And then the one that we're up against first that we need to pop and hold first is going to be 172.65, which is 7.45% from back in May. So for your calls, you want to see pop 172.65, hold, and then, if we really get going, be looking for that bottom of the weekly inside bar, which is going to be that 173.57 in the big dark pool. For downside, you would want to just be aware of round number psychological level 72, which we have seen reactions to in the past. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at below. But now that we've done with all our head and shoulder zings, I'll be looking for this wedge. That's what we got over there. And then the other one I want to keep an eye on is coin. Sunny mentioning maybe some news going on over there. Also, dark pool, very rare on coin. So I've kind of just been adding them into some of these that we have below. This was the big one from the other day, earlier this week. And we got a nice pop off that. When this one hit, I was thinking like this kind of looked like a bear flag in here on coin. Is like ugly looking. And now we've popped. So I was going to use this as a call trigger similarly to Apple. This would just become puts. So would be looking short below that 75.90, and then a conservative call trigger would probably be up around there, that 78.10 level on coin, but not looking too bad. Kind of, broke out of what looked like for a second a bear flag, and we'll see if headlines can get coin cooking to the upside. See if we get some flow. It's been kind of quiet this week. I think that's all I got.
That's it. We don't get no prices right. We don't get nothing.
I mean, do you want another mystery box? Because I don't think.
Really, you would double down on stupid? You would really do that? Come on, Stonk. We do have a little bit of sad news. It would appear that, or is being reported that Dianne Feinstein has passed away. Regardless of your political bias, thoughts, whatever it may be, losing a life is never something that you want to see. She did serve for many years, and some people can say did a great job. Some people say she sucked. Either way, she is no longer with us. So, yeah, I think people come and people go. It's weird. It's very weird. All right. You guys have anything else?
No, nothing from me.
Nothing?
Nada.
Nada.
All right, fellas, let's close this week out well. Look both ways before you cross the street. Is probably
Yeah.
the best advice I could give. Look both ways before you cross the street. We'll see you guys soon.
See you soon. And it looks like Discord is everybody's back in, up and running, so we'll cut the stream off. Thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch you next week.